We are finally getting back to work on this HellCat. So now we gotta figure out how to get it from here over to our frame rack. So with the help from our friends over at Dent Fix, they sent us what's called the body buggy. So here in a minute, we're gonna use the body buggy and we're gonna assemble it. Super easy, one person can do it. So I'm gonna attach it to the front of this HellCat and this thing's gonna become mobile. First, we're gonna assess all the damage on this and figure out just exactly what we're up against, because the next step is gonna be repairing this front damaged area where it's all crushed. We've got a frame rail we gotta change, an upper apron, an upper frame rail, and I noticed we've got damage all the way almost to the firewall. Got a few things that are damaged on the engine, and then we're gonna do a walk around the car and figure out exactly where all the damage is. So I'm gonna show you guys the damage and what's going on up front first. And then Demery's gonna help you guys see the damage going on around the outside. In here, I've got apron issues right here where it's got a buckle because this front rail has come up and come back. So in the event of an accident, these cars are designed to distribute energy. So it doesn't just crush like cars back in the day used to do.
You're like right in the...
So what happens is this thing is involved in an accident and the energy is dispersed and it blows around the occupant. So we've got damage over here, we've got damage here, but nothing. It's supposed to keep the occupant safe in the event of a crash and not have basically the cockpit crush. It basically acts like a roll cage with high strength steels and the different types of metal that is involved in building these vehicles. We've got an apron assembly that needs changed. An upper frame rail, this is our lower frame rail. We've got a buckle here, we've got a pooch out right here. You can't really see it behind the brake lines, but we're actually kicked in right there. And then we've got some paint disruption right here, and the firewall is actually pushed back a little bit. So we're gonna be stripping out more stuff. We've got to get this padding off because the heater box distribution piece is broken off. And we're gonna get it on the frame rack, and we're actually gonna pull all of this stuff together before we start cutting anything off, because we want it to kind of recreate the accident. So as we're pulling it, our indirect damage on the other side is gonna be coming out as well. We'll be fixing that. And then we'll start unbolting things, start removing it, cutting the strut tower off, disassembling the frame rail, getting this thing cut back to where we can rebuild it and rebuild it correctly. We're gonna be using lasers, we're gonna be using chains, hydraulics, all the fun stuff. That's just the right front corner. We have an entire rest of the vehicle. So right here, we've sustained some indirect damage. We've got a little buckle on this outer upper rail. So that's because the energy has twisted the vehicle like this. So when it comes back, it'll stretch it back out and we'll be able to straighten that out and repair it. There's a little bit right here where some paint's come off. So we've got a little slight pooch in. As we pull this rail over, that's gonna come back out. Structurally, that's about all there is. Might seem like a lot, but it's really not that bad. Once you disassemble the car and you get down to the core, it's not too terrible. Over here, we've got the engine and transmission. Aside from needing the lower cradle, all of the suspension, that's kind of a given. Right here, we've got a busted alternator. Come in and broke it right here. Got yellow paint. We've got a pulley right here that's been hit, an idler pulley. We'll get an alternator. Obviously, this whole cooling assembly needs changed all the way back. This is the oil cooler system, so it goes back here to the oil filter housing. We've got a couple coil packs that are hit. We've got a broken coil. We've got a broken wire. Those will get changed. We'll probably get new connectors, repin them, save the harness. Valve cover has been hit right here, so that might need to get changed. I don't think this is hit. This wire housing has got a little bit of damage. I don't think it's gone through to the wiring. It's just the outer sleeve. We've got some fiber cloth electrical tape, so we'll fix that. This is the main power wire that goes to the starter. I think that's all the damage here on the engine. All this is fine. Suspension on this side is just fine. This is the lower cradle, so that's all getting changed. These lines all seem to be okay. The engine is fine. It did not get damaged, other than a few little cosmetic things.
So first, we got a dent right here. Hold on, it's not working.
What's wrong with it?
Ain't got no ink in it. And it also goes into the door, a teeny tiny bit. And there's scratches all across. And you guys can't see it, but there's a dent somewhere in this. Right there. Since we're fixing this dent, all of those scratches will just be sanded out and then they'll be painted, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a dent right here. There's also, what about these scratches? There's some scratches in this. We're gonna take this decal off anyway, so I'll just write over it. I don't see any more damage on this side.
Front door right there.
Where?
Oh, you've already got it marked.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
There's also all this tape residue.
So that's got to come off.
Yep. It might not be part of the wreck, but
No, it is. They put
It
duct
is.
tape. Yes, it's all over the windows too.
it's everywhere. It's on the windows.
It's on the wow.
This side. There's a big old scratches. More residue. Some more little scratches. There's a dent somewhere in this door. I saw it. Right here. Is there more?
I don't know. I'm looking at the camera.
Another dent. There's some more scratches. Now you tell me.
All right, so I think you pretty well got the bulk of the damage. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna write a supplement, and I'm gonna take pictures of every single thing that she just marked. We're gonna submit it to the insurance company, and then we're gonna fix it. Thank you. I think she did a very wonderful job assessing the damage on this HellCat. Basically, this panel's gonna be repaired. Back door's gonna be repaired. We got some residue on the window. We'll try to get that cleaned up. We've got some scrape marks on all of this. Got a dent there, here. You can see smashed it so hard that it's actually coming into the door jamb. So we'll be fixing all of this, all of that. Normally, I would look at this quarter panel and I would suggest that we replace it. On this car, I honestly feel confident enough with our dent fix, our maxi with the key pullers. I think this will be no problem. We'll key this up. We'll get the metal all worked back out. We'll get a baby little skim coat of filler, and I would warranty it all day long. That's gonna be nice. This side will all be repaired. Boom, boom, boom. This side, the quarter panel, I think is safe. The rear door, obviously we have some damage down low. This will get repaired, this will get cleaned up, dent, all fixed. We also have a front end, but I think the driver's fender is gonna get repaired, changing the hood, and we're changing the passenger front fender, we're changing the front bumper. We're changing both lower rocker moldings because they're damaged, and the rear bumper, no damage. Got a lot of stuff we got to do to it. We're going to take a minute, hurry and write the supplement for the insurance company, get all the pictures before we forget, and then we'll get moving on to our dent fix equipment body buggy. So they have sent us their 5-foot body buggy and also their 4-foot body buggy. So whichever one's going to fit the front end of this HellCat the best is the one we're going to put on and use it to bring this car around to the frame rack. So I had an issue, and that issue is how are we going to get this HellCat off of this lift and onto that frame rack? So I reached out to my friends over at Dent Fix. They sent us 2 of their body buggies. All right, so luckily with the Dent Fix body buggy, they made this super simple. So you have a 60-inch main beam. One person can lift this thing. You have 2 casters, one for each side. We'll put this either inboard or outboard of these spacers, just depending on what style of lift you have. These are locking collars so that the main beam doesn't slide. You also have hitch pins right here that lock your casters, either to it on the outboard position, or you just put them in on the inboard and use lock collars to keep them tight to the spacers. Dent Fix also sends 5 sets of spacers in various sizes, plus 2 washers. We have 2 different heights. These are short and these are tall. We're gonna use the tallest ones on this car to get it up as high as we can get it. And then we also have these spacers go right here. Anyway, what we're gonna do first is we're gonna grab our original hardware from the car. We're gonna go over to the engine cradle and figure out which spacer we need to use. You're gonna size up right here. It's actually too big. I'm gonna get a smaller one. I'm gonna check this one. And that's slightly smaller, but I think that one will work. It's gonna go right here, and that's gonna take up the difference. So we're gonna go with these spacers. We'll go to the underside of the car, and we'll loosely put these up underneath the car before we slide the main beam in place. So I'm gonna use my original bolt. I'm gonna use the spacer provided by Dent Fix, a washer, then I'm gonna put it up through the bracket. So I'm gonna go through this rear hole because this frame rail's so bent, the rear is gonna be a lot more even than the front. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my bar and I'm gonna slide it through. I'm gonna put the wheels outboard. All right, so I've got the main beam slid in. I'm gonna center it the best I can inside the car. All right, that's close enough to center. Now I've got the main beam in place. I've got some lock collars. All I'm gonna do, slide them over here, put them in place and just leave them. Because what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna go grab my wheels, slide those on, and then we're gonna hitch pin the outer wheels. We'll tighten up our bolts in here, and then tighten up these locks so that nothing wants to slide. We'll just slide this into place. It's just like a hitch. Slide your hitch pin in, lock it. We'll go throw the other side up on there. And voila. So we've got the body buggy all installed. Now we just need to go through, get it all tightened up, and this thing will be ready to set down on the ground. So it's gonna be a little bit down because we're using the rear wheels of the car, but that's okay because all we're trying to do is make it to where we can take this over to the frame rack. We're not gonna super crank them, just make them tight, but we don't want to impact them because we don't need to break anything. And then what we're gonna do is tighten up these lock collars. that's gonna allow it to not slide. It's gonna keep the bar right where you want it. And just like that, our body buggy's installed. Now what we can do is lower the car down, and this thing's gonna be mobile enough that we can take it over to the frame rack. I wanna say thank you to DentFix for supporting us and helping us out with tools to try out. Head over to dentfix.com. DentFix makes some of the best tools on the market, and we've used them for years. Use code Robby10 for 10% off of your entire order. All right, now that we've got the body buggy all installed, I'm gonna lower down the lift, I'm gonna go grab Hillbilly, and we're gonna get this car moved. It's a good time to let you guys know the max load capacity for the body buggy is 4,500 pounds. So this little car with no weight on it, it's gonna move with ease. All right, so I went and grabbed Hillbilly because it's time to get this thing moved over to the frame rack. So I'm gonna have him help me push it around, and we're gonna hopefully get this on and get this thing pulled.
You're funny.
What?
Shop is packed full and there's one on the frame rack, so there's no way to even get that one off the frame rack.
Serious?
Serious.
Let's go look. I've gotta get this on the rack. All right, so it may appear like a bomb went off in here because this week we've been thrashing like crazy to get body work done on this old Ford, and we've got a square body Chevy, and we got like 15 collision jobs in here, so it's been super busy. That's why we're working on collision work, because the shop is so backed up that we have no choice. So the cool projects are gonna have to wait a minute. This is just the body shop. We've got everybody out here working. We've got a vehicle on the frame rack that's blocked in, so it looks like we're not gonna be able to get the HellCat around to get started on pulling it. So I'm gonna go in the paint booth and we're gonna go paint that silver Dodge we've been working on and hopefully get that thing taken care of. All right, so this is our paint shop. We've got it full of work. So I've got the silver Dodge here. I'm gonna have to do this in 2 batches. We're gonna paint all the parts and pieces on another day, which is tomorrow, but it'll be another video. I'm gonna paint the actual cab. So let's get in the booth and get this thing sprayed. All right, so I saved you all the hassle of watching me sand and prep everything. We got everything for the silver Dodge in the booth except for the truck. We're gonna get all the sealer on, we're gonna base out everything, do our blends, paint the bed, and then we're gonna do the truck itself in another batch because we don't have enough room. Here in a second, I'm gonna blow, tack, and static it, seal everything, then base coat, then clear coat, then done. Get it all finished up, and then show you guys what it looks like. So we're checking for bare metal, edging it. So this is acid edge. So it bites into the bare metal, and then the sealer is able to attach to this and attach the metal. We got it all etched, we got the sealer mixed. We'll get this stirred up. We gotta wait 10 minutes before we can go in there and put sealer down. All right, so we're gonna be putting on the bumper sealer first. This is a special sealer that adheres directly to plastic, and it's flex. I've got 2 flares here and a little piece over here. I'll get those all sealed, and then we'll go get the actual sealer that goes over all the E-coated parts. All right, I'm gonna hurry and blow, tack, and static this hood off. Then I'm gonna start my blends. I've got all my color mixed up. I put sealer on here so that my blend matches on the fender. Then I'm gonna put clear base down, blend out my color on the hood. Then we'll go to the bed, do that next, and then I'll base out all these sealed parts. All right, so we've got all the base coat done. I'm gonna pull the door and the fender out of the paint booth, and then we're gonna clear the rest of the parts. The door and the fender are gonna get bolted on the truck. That way our color is perfect. We're gonna put our last coat on. Basically, it's a blend coat. Put some clear on this, and you guys will like it. So I'll put these outside of the booth. They'll end up getting re-cleaned once they get put on the truck. Get the door shut, go in there, blow, tack, and static it off, clear it. Sorry, didn't see you there. All right, so I've got the first coat of clear on. Looks really good. We're gonna go wait 12 minutes. I'll come back in, put a second coat, and then we'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. All right, so we've got it all cleared. Looking pretty good. We're gonna let this sit overnight, and then we're gonna bring the truck in with the door and fender on another day. It's not happening today. All right, so as always, we appreciate you. If you enjoyed this video, go check out this one.